Hi guys, my name is Quinnell Anderson. I'm the owner of Q Camper Vans, and this is my vehicle, my camper van Fred. He's a 2009 Ford Econoline Extended. I've done everything myself, including whatever's on the roof. So I built this roof rack myself, and I have 400 watts of solar. So 100-watt solar panels that are mounted to each bracket on the roof rack. And in the summer months, that gets really cranking. I'm quite proud of how the roof rack turned out, given that roof racks go for thousands of dollars, and this cost me probably under $1,000. Metal can be pricey, but it turned out well. So I build vans because I actually have a camper van rental company here in Vancouver, BC, Canada. It really was a career switch for me because I used to be a financial auditor, and there's no knock against people in accounting and that type of work, but I just couldn't handle the sitting. I'd work 10 hours a day, and it was too much for me. So I wanted to do something different, something I could be passionate about. And so I fell into van life and decided to start my own rental company, and so far it's been great, and I love it. Just to mention also, with the roof rack, you can put surfboards, paddle boards, skis, snowboards. So in those winter months and the summer months when you don't have enough room under the bed or even inside, you can throw stuff on top, even storage bins. You can mount them up there. And that's what really comes in handy with the roof rack. I know you lose some of that stealth vibe that a lot of people go for with these Econoline vans, but it really comes in handy with, especially if you're in Tofino or something, or in Whistler with your skis. It's really handy. So what initially got me into camper vans and van life was, I'd mentioned I'd quit my job, and I was looking for a direction in life and looking, what I wanted to do and find passion. And it might sound stupid, but I saw a TikTok of a video similar to this where a guy had converted a van, and I was like, man, I could do that, And my shout out to my dad, he's a Snap-on Tools franchisee owner, and I was like, I could do that. We have all the tools I need. And so I just did it. It takes a lot of patience, especially when you're teaching yourself and you're learning all the electrical and the plumbing. And yeah, I just made it work. I was inspired by that guy in the TikTok and just made it happen, honestly. All right, so this is the inside. Built and designed everything myself, and I'm not exactly, I just learned it, right? And that's what van life is all about. So I'll hop in here and show you guys what I've done. So I guess we'll start front to back. Since this is not a stand-up van, I've bought these box seats. They're super functional. You can sit on them, make good little seats, but you also have, stuff inside. I have cutting boards and strainer and bowls and stuff like that in there. And then they're easy to move. And then in here you just have all your cleaning supplies, stuff like that. So they double a seat and storage, which is sweet. My friends, it's a little bit PG-13, but they like to call this the shaggin' wagon, each of my vans. So curtains give you a nice little privacy for any of my renters who are getting frisky back there. The sink is, powered by a 12-volt pump. So you got the 7 gallons of fresh water, and then it goes to your strainer, goes to the pump, and then there's a pressure accumulator down there, which basically prevents the pump from running nonstop. It allows it to accumulate that pressure, and that feeds to the faucet, and then goes down through this the drainage to your gray water, which again is 7 gallons. Now, this is the switch to turn on that pump, and just to show you how it works, is you just run it. It's a bit loud, but it runs whenever it needs pressure, and it runs less if you're running less pressure. So, super simple, super easy, and just like a normal sink. This is a butcher block countertop, 1 inch, and I've routed in this little groove here, which basically, in theory, if you're flat, stops any tomato juice, water, anything from leaking off the sides of the counter. So that's the idea behind that little groove on the edge of the counter. Going into all these drawers, these are really finicky to build, just to make sure that everything's lined up perfectly. The drawers are lined up perfectly. But each drawer is soft close. And then on top of that, I guess I'll show you down here, I got these metal ball bearing stop systems, which are super clutch when you're driving and you have heavy stuff in there. You can tighten them up, you can loosen them, depending on what, how crazy you driver you are, I guess. But those, provide a little bit of resistance, and I haven't had any problems with them yet. With each van that I do, it comes complete with everything you should need for any trip, any length really. So you got pots, pans, cheese grater, bowls, cups, more pots, pans. You got rags, big knives, spatula, can opener, all the utensils you need. So it's a real full kitchen, honestly. And then I had more stuff in the storage compartment. You got storage up here for your plates, and those are soft close hinges. Got more storage up there. Yeah, and then oftentimes you can cook in here. Obviously it's a smaller van in terms of height, so you may not want to cook, but that's why each of my rentals I have an extension cord, and you can run the extension cord outside, and you can cook from the outside, or you can cook in here. Either way. I guess moving along from there is how you keep everything cool. So this is the solution I've had to kind of keep the fridge out of sight. They're not the most pretty things, I guess. These latches are just to keep it from, running out on you when you have to stop at a red light. And then I got a 44 quart fridge, and this comes in every van I rent, no extra charge. So you can adjust the temperature here, turn it on and off. And yeah, that has heavy duty hinges on it, 200 pounds, so you can load her up, put anything you want in there, and then these latches prevent it from flying open. So I think for all the people that are trying to get into this for themselves and build a van, I think the number one thing is don't be intimidated by your own limitations. There's the internet and people around you for a reason. Plenty of people are willing to help, and YouTube, Google is the most powerful resource. I've taught myself most of the woodwork and everything I knew how to do, but the electrical I taught myself on YouTube. If you're motivated to do it, you can do it. So I guess another thing is selecting the van you want. You don't necessarily have to get those super big, nice Mercedes Sprinters or Ford Transits. Like, obviously those are nice, but you can make a really nice van out of a really small amount of space as well. So don't feel like you have to jump to the big leagues right away. But I get a lot of comments about the flooring, and each of my vans has a similar design, a tile design, and I really wanted to go with that because most people do hardwood, and hardwood's totally fine. That looks really good, but this floor, gives it some character, and it's vinyl, so no water's going through, and it's flexible, so when you're driving it's not cracking like normal tile would. So yeah, that's a super cool feature that I really like, and it's super thin, so you're not losing space in here, which space is really important. And just the nosing, that's not super hard to install, but just cleans it up nice, makes everything look fresh. Me personally, for van life, I'm always curious to see what people do on their doors to make it look slick. This is something that I've done. It's a little bit tricky with these sliding doors. I've used wood, 1/4-inch wood plywood under this fabric, which I've stapled behind. But it's a little tricky to make sure it clears the side of the van. So that's why there's these two screws there. But this really finishes it off nicely with the fabric, and there's a little bit of insulation in there as well. So that's kind of a cool feature that I've done. I know people do tongue and groove on the paneling, uh, on the doors as well, but you know, I figured I'd switch it up a little bit. So now going into, I guess, what's all around the siding is this tongue and groove. It's super easy to work with. It's 5/16 pine tongue and groove, and for a van like this, it's super clutch. It makes the van smell good. Yeah, super easy to work with. It doesn't, like, if it's thicker, then it's harder to move around, and so this kind of adapts to the curves of your van super well. I've used it on all the walls, the ceiling, you know, just looks really good. In terms of unexpected things that have arisen from doing van life and starting my business, I think the biggest thing is the people you meet. I think that's the coolest thing about this, honestly. You get to help people enjoy, like, I grew up here in Vancouver, and you get to help people enjoy that spot, and all of BC and the Pacific Northwest. And so I meet people from all over Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and it's just super cool to connect with those people. This is the control switch for my inverter. I have a 3,000 watt inverter in the back there, but this just turns it on and off. And that runs all the 20 amp outlets, which are GFCI protected. So water you'll trip it out, and you're fully protecting the van, which is really important. So yeah, I got 4 20 amp outlets. There was one in the kitchen, one here, one under the bed, and one by the electrical box. So those are really important. Key feature in the van, you can run any household item off of them, which is really cool. Next, I have a dimmer switch that separates the van space a little bit. So if you know, it's a dimmer, so you can set the mood in the back if it's late at night, you're reading or something, and then the front for the kitchen section. So, or you can have both of them on, and creates a nice little warm light, warm environment, which is super, super cool. This little panel is super important. All van life people know that you want to know how much power you have, because if you don't have power, you're, in a pickle. So I have 300 amp hours of lithium ion phosphate batteries in the back through Renogy, and yeah, this little control panel is super awesome. It tells you what you're using. So right now I'm using 2 amps with the inverter and the lights, and basically this number runs out because I can go for so long on that. And then this tells you the voltage, which when it's charging, when it reaches a certain voltage, it'll cut out and cut the charge, and then if it gets too low, it'll warn you. And yeah, it's super awesome. It tells you the percentage. Super easy for new people to tell what's going in, what's going out. It nets out your amp charge or discharge, so it's super clutch. So yeah, that's kind of all the electrical here. I'll get to later on everything in my electrical system, which for my rentals and what I've seen from other rental companies is quite extensive compared to them. So it's definitely a key feature in my vans. So yeah, next I guess we can get to one actually last thing that I forgot about the kitchen is the cooktop. So since my electrical system is so extensive, I figured that induction cooktop is easily powered by it, and that's why I got a 3,000 watt inverter. So you just plug this in, and then all my pots are induction, and yeah, you can cook whatever you want in here. It does take a lot of power, but as long as you're mindful of how long you're cooking, it's really not a problem, and it's pretty sweet. You can cook outside. It's portable. I know some people have built-in cooktops in their counter. I've chosen to just make them separate so they're easy to switch out, easy to move. Yeah. Next is the heater. This isn't really meant for winter, but in spring months or fall when it's a little bit colder, this takes off the bite a little bit, and so you just plug that in. It's pretty sweet. Nice little space heater. Next thing is probably the fan. I mentioned it on the outside, but this is super awesome because you can open it up and make sure that you're getting clean air in there. So you just open that up and you can change the direction to pull air in, pull air out, and keep things fresh. It's super awesome. They're a little bit pricey, but it's a must-need, must-have for van life, really. And then with these cupboards, I've made sure that they have magnets so they stay closed with self-close hinges, and then these cool little brackets to keep them open so they're not crashing on your hand. And so you just close those, give a nice satisfying little click at the end. And so you have more storage back there. And so yeah, that's super clutch. And now in terms of the bedding, this is a full-size bed built in so it doesn't move. I don't want my renters, I see a lot of van life beds, they're moving around and there's like little tables in between them. This is just built in, super easy, super simple. You can fit 2 people in here super easily, super comfortable. Nice 4-inch mattress, 5-inch mattress with extra blankets, and yeah. My design philosophy was really just to make it as homey as possible. I know some of the big Mercedes Sprinter conversions I see, they feel a little bit cold and not homey. And my goal was to make this small space feel as inviting as possible. And so with the wood finish, with the nice tile vinyl floor, with the countertop, with the everything in here, the bedding, was to make people feel welcome in the space, and but while keeping it really elegant and classy and something that people are drawn to and something unique as well. I think I have some features in the van that I don't really see too often in van life, and so it's really cool to be able to implement those. I don't have a sewing machine, so I hand stitched all this, so yeah, they're not perfect, but they do the job. They have Reflectix inside with neodymium, I think that's how you say it, magnets, and those just stick across the windows. So at night, creepers aren't looking in. They also kind of act like an insulator as well. Don't do a super good job on bare windows, but they keep the creepers out. Next is all the storage. This is for your belongings. I have the porta potty, the shower stuff. I can go through all the things I have down here. This is kind of all the maintenance, all the for winter you have a shovel, a scraper, chains, battery cables, oil, all the things. If you get in a jam, you got straps for the roof rack, so that all comes included. Next thing is this little porta potty. It's a smaller van, so you can't really have a built-in toilet, but this is super clutch, just for night times when you're at a campsite and you want some privacy. You can just pull this in the front, and there's little RV pods that you just stick in there. They completely eliminate any odor, any of the toilet paper, so you never have to worry about it stinking in the van. So that's another cool feature that I have in all my rentals. Next thing is, this is all the shower stuff, which I'll get to in a moment. And then I won't pull them out, but you have 2 camping chairs and some Reflectix that you stick on the front window, and then a 20-pound propane tank, which I will pull out. And this is what you use your shower for, or whatever else you might bring on your trip. But this is what the shower runs off of. So as I was mentioning, this is a shower system that I have, and I'll quickly set it up for you guys and show you how it works. Honestly, it might be an ad for Julka, which is the brand, but so be it. It's pretty sweet. So first thing, it runs off propane, so you just hook that up and then connect that to the bottom, and you just open that. And then it comes with this pump. So the cool thing is there's a water filter device at the bottom. So you can literally put this, you can take lake water, river water, anything you want really. It has a filter. You connect that, put that in there. Then you connect this to the pump. The flow goes that way. Now these can be finicky at times, but you got that one in. So you connect that to that side, and then connect the other line to the other side, which then goes over here to there. And then you got the shower head, which then connects to the bottom. And then all of this runs off my battery system, which you just plug that in. And this is where the magic should happen. So once you turn that on, and you turn on this shower head, it should go. Let's give it a sec to pump some water. You can adjust the heat, and it's just starting to heat up now. This comes with all my rentals. It's so warm. I mean, we're filming in the cold right now, and this is just, whew. I'm so happy to get my hands finally warm. But yeah, and then once you turn it off, you just control it from up here. So it's super sweet. You can run it off the lake water, you can run it off creek water, doesn't matter. So yeah, it's super sweet. So my personal philosophy on life, I think, stems from my background with accounting and just that situation when I quit and was changing career paths. I was, praying, and I'm a believer in God, and so I was praying kind of for some direction and where I wanted to go in life. And I think God really helped me to find a path that I was really passionate about and could put my talents and my interests into. So I think that's my biggest philosophy in life, is just trusting in God and doing what makes you and others happy and being passionate about it. Okay, so this is the electrical system of the van. I think it looks like a bit of a wire mess, but I promise I know where every single wire goes because I did all of it myself. But I do get an electrician to inspect it, and so it's all good. Some key components, I guess. This is a DC to DC alternator charger, so that whenever you're running the van, it's charging the vehicle, so that provides 40 amps of charging power. This is the 3000 watt inverter from Renogy. Super powerful. I've had no problems with it, really love it. It powers any household item you have through my outlets. So that's what the inverter powers. I got various fuses and switches. This is the main switch for the whole system. This turns off the alternator. I got 3 lithium-ion batteries under there. They're self-heated, so in the winter you won't have any problems with power, even if it's cold. So that's a key feature in my vans as well. All of them have self-heated batteries. Down there in the corner, I don't know if you can see it, but is a shore power plug, which is also on the outside. And so you can, if you're at a campsite, plug in the van. And so that's super awesome. And then you have the charge controller, which is right there. And that's what the 400 watts of solar runs to. And that controls all the electricity that comes from the sun. Yeah, so if you're looking to explore Canada, explore the West Coast, US, Canada, you can find me at campervan_Q on Instagram. My website is qcampervans.ca, and my TikTok is q_campervans. And so if you're interested in doing a rental, I invite you to find me on those sites, and I'm more than happy to make your dream trip come true.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please share it with a friend. Also, if you want to watch more alternative dwellings, we got a playlist popping up right here, and we release new episodes every single Sunday, so consider subscribing.